who's back, everyone. The Bluick. It runs. It drives. More importantly, it fucking stops. Oh, we got some things to talk about here. So let me open. She's filthy. I mean, she just hasn't gone anywhere. That's just like got 3 winters on it right there. She needs to be washed really bad. That's a little, you know, the paint has been washing off really good. Just crumbling. Nay! Oh, we got a lot of horses in here. Smells like a whole lot of horse shit. Yeah. Alright, so we got the brakes done. There is the new shiny master cylinder. It's new, it's shiny. This hose broke off for the 54th time. My dad put a cable tie loosely on there. I don't know why. He just did. Yeah, it's about the shiniest thing on the car. Not much to say. It's a little different style than the old one. The wire bail clip is different and the kind of humps on it are a little different. But that's, you know, the made in China AutoZone equivalent that you can buy today. Right there. That's all that is. So yeah, brakes were done. It was not bad as far as the getting the brakes done. That really didn't cost that much to have them put the master cylinder on and bleed everything out and all that great shit. So we got that done. So it stops now. That's a good thing. I found out with cars that it doesn't matter how fast it goes as long as it can stop fast. That's the most important thing. Next thing was the blower. That stopped working. So the blower is right here. This is the back of the motor. I don't know if you can see any of this. Back of the motor. This is the housing where the squirrel cage blower thing is. I think GM, in their infinite wisdom, requires that you remove the hood from the vehicle to get the blower motor out. Because you gotta unbolt all this and take the fucking hood off to get the bracket out of the way, to get the motor out of the way. I don't know if that's actually true. It's possible that you could get in here with a couple of tiny wrenches and maybe get the bolts out and somehow let the old one fall in there, and then the new one will just like shrink itself and expand when it gets back in. I don't know what the fuck they had in mind. But the blower stopped working. My dad checked the fuse. There's none marked blower. There's one marked heater. And it was a beefy fuse. So hopefully that was the one. It was not blown. It was perfectly fine. So that wasn't the problem. So I went over there today because I needed to get her inspected, which I finally did, which is an excellent thing because now I can register it for another year and pay the insurance on it, and it's good for another year as far as owning it, not as far as driving it, which we'll get to. So anyways, the blower, it's there. This is the wire right here, that black thing. And when I got the car, the blower didn't work. Had an old video on this explaining the whole shebang, and somehow, somewhere, some way, I finally found, just by feeling it, because you can't see it, camera can't show you anything, you just see a wire disappearing under there, because that's always a great place to put the connection. Found the connection point, found that wire dangling, and plugged it on there, and it magically started working. So it was on there, and it now didn't work. So over at my dad, we played with it. It was just something I just didn't have the time for. I was going to diagnose it, get a test light and the whole 9 yards and that. but I just never had the time, so we just used a Harbor Freight meter and got on there, and I pulled the wire off the motor, turned everything on, and sure enough, we got 12 volts, just what we should. Now, just because you have 12 volts doesn't mean you have the amperage that is required to run the blower motor. So then I said, well, before we go any further, we ran a little jumper lead off the terminal right to here, and then a jumper cable like you'd use to jump start a car off the positive terminal. The ground wire is right there, and I had already checked that to make sure that it is on there nice and tight, and indeed it is. And I took it off, inspected it. There's nothing to clean or wire brush or anything. So I put it back and made sure it was nice and tight. That was arcing at one point, that wire, but that seems to be working all right now. So we ran 12 volts, and I hooked it to where that black wire goes, the positive terminal. And thank you, because everybody knows that American cars are the best, and they never break down. This is a 67 Riviera, and this fucking thing is never broken down. The engine never blew up and had to be, you know, fucking rebuilt for $6 grand. No, that never happened. That just doesn't happen on American cars. So, of course, the blower motor fucking failed. So now, you got to take the whole hood off the car to get a new one. So I said, let's try the starter trick. My dad says, what do you mean? I said, give me a block of wood and a hammer. And I stuck a block of wood right in here on the motor housing and a hammer. The old Slamolator 2000, banged on it, hooked up 12 volts, and she ran. So I put the wire back on, and now it turns on and it runs. I think only on high. I didn't play with any other speeds. We'll try that in a minute. Then we get to the bad news. I had Julio take a look, and he didn't put the cover back straight, so I'll fix that. Take a look at why it runs like a bag of shit when it first starts. And I said, from what the carbonator dick told me, it's the choke. I don't want to pull this thing because it's real hot now. But if you see, there's a little gazmo there. Somewhere in there is the choke. And that's not... It's too choked, so it runs too rich. At startup, I think, is what the problem is. It doesn't run right. It runs like a bag of shit. And when you step on it a bit to rev it up, that gets some more air down her. And then she's happier, and after it runs for a bit, it's good. So I don't know what he did, but he said he fucked with the mixture screws, and that was not what I wanted him to do. It's hard when you have the language barrier like that, because I told him it's the choke, because that's what the carbonator dick told me. And the next thing you know, he's adjusting shit like that. He pulled a spark plug, which is not a bad idea, because that'll give you at a glance an indication of how an engine is running. And he pulled it, and it was completely black with carbon. So that means it's running way too rich. And the plugs are all fouled up with carbon and shit. Shouldn't be doing that, because everything was rebuilt. But I guess nobody can do their job properly. And of course, I'm the guy who that happens to. Run into, let's pick a name, Ronnie Schmidt. Completely wrong. Ronnie Schmidt will go in, get his engine rebuilt, his carbonator rebuilt, and the engine will run fucking perfect. I get stuck with a piece of shit. Nobody can do their job right. I told the rebuild dicks that this shit ain't running right. Put some miles on it. Put some miles on it. It's your carburetor. It's your carburetor. I said, no, it's just not running right. No, it's not misfiring. I said, why is it shaking? Put some miles on it. We'll see. Basically, get the fuck out of here. We're surprised it ran at all. So he took the plug out and cleaned that up. I don't know if he took a torch and burned it or if he brushed it with a wire brush, or I don't know what it was. Put it back in there, adjusted the mixture, played with it, maybe took it for a little trip or something, and came back, pulled the same plug, and it was black again. So she ain't running well. When I left from my dad, it was having the same misfiring problem that it was having a long time ago, before it even fucking blew up. Just sitting at a light, it would just stumble and stumble and stumble and stumble and stumble. And if you had electrical accessories on, which I understand now, because you're putting a load on the alternator on an engine that doesn't want to run smoothly, every time it kind of goes to die, with all that extra strain, you're putting the brakes on this thing. You know, essentially putting the brakes on the engine and stopping it. And that's essentially what's happening. So that's why under heavy electrical loads, it will bog down completely and stall. So that kind of makes sense. And I thought back and I remembered my old Chevy, and it used to do some weird shit when it was like a cold, rainy or snowy night. I had the blower on in the car on high, so that's a big electrical load. Headlights are on because it's nighttime. Then you get up to a traffic light, you know, had the radio on for what it was worth. You get up to a traffic light and you put the blinker on. You need to make a left. And the blinker would go it was really slow, really fucking slow. So, and that thing didn't run right either. But anyway, it doesn't run right. It runs enough. Long and short of it is, after some time into the trip, a couple miles, she kind of like, it came back around and it kind of got out of it. But as soon as you start feeding her some onions, she bogs down and doesn't want to run. She just misfires and says, nope, not going any faster. Let off the gas, I'll go, but not as fast as you want me to go. All right, anyway, basically the long and short of it is, it's legal again for another year, and it can sit and rust for another year because it doesn't run right and nobody appears to know how to fix the fucking thing correctly. Okay, so we're back in case anybody is interested. The mileage is 123,374, almost 375, so 123,375 miles. 600 of those are on the new rebuilt engine and shit, maybe? I don't know, not even. Turn the key on, and the blower magically works. It runs. Now, will the speeds work? Nope. High works, but not the speeds, and it's not the blower motor resistor, because I already took that out and metered it, so I have no fucking clue what that's about, but at least it works again. It just stalled, and that's after it did work. And then, like, the next time I tried it a few days later, it didn't. So, I don't know what the fuck that was about. Anyway, it is time for a warm start. We have virtually no oil pressure right now. A warm start is going to require a bit of cranking, and then we'll sputter to life. Well, that was my fail, because it sounded like it fired. She came up. Battery on this thing is pretty damn dead. She does not have long to live. So we gotta just back her out a little so I can get moving. Look how much you gotta turn the damn wheel. Isn't that nice? Right now she's running pretty good. She really is running really nice. I really can't complain. I'm going to take you up this way. She's actually running beautifully right now. But driving around town like this, you can cruise all day like this. She is just the smoothest, nicest ride all around. This is just really fucking nice. Watch the oil pressure gauge go up and down. Come to a stop. Step on it, it goes up. It does everything it's supposed to. Took you up the wrong block, I think. Yeah, I wanted to take you up the next block. That's why they got these little streets. Notice some interesting shit. I've been walking these streets at night, you know, looking to pick up chicks. I mean, I've been going for my walk then. By the way, I'm fully aware the windshield is completely smeary and disgusting. The sticker for registration is good for a few more days, and when I get the new one, I'm going to clean the whole window down. So I'm just dealing with it dirty right now, that's all. There's just this weird, mysterious no houses over here. Bunch of kids yapping. They don't have a stop sign, I do, so I don't know what that was about. And there's more of this like weird park shit on the right. So I just go for my walk at night and shit. Now you see this up ahead, the blue? That's a house that caught fire. It's about halfway between me and XJO81X. You can see what's left of it over there. The wooden straps on the tarp. I'll take you past that and we'll loop back around. I guess they're getting a roof done up there. Oh yeah, this is going great. Look at this fucking Jeep. There's too many cars here and this thing is a boat. Here's the house. The house next door, the siding melted off. So that's nice. The right blinker indicator works. The left blinker indicator doesn't, but it signals both directions, so it's good both ways. So anyway, that was a little detour on that house that burned down. I don't know what the deal was with that. Apparently they had an awning that caught fire somehow, and then there was a propane tank that finally exploded on top of that, And the scary part is because houses in a neighborhood typically are built cookie cutter fashion, whereas they all kind of look the same. So it looks like my house, so that's what it would look like if it had a fire. So not cool. But I think we're driving the Bluick. So here's something weird in the neighborhood, right? So here's a water treatment facility or something. It's not for sewage or a pumping station, or it has to do with water. They have this beautiful property, nice lawn, really nice fence around everything. This looks like a house, but it's actually a building. And so that's kind of nifty in itself. But check this out. This street runs through to the one with the burninated house at the corner, and then just goes down here. There's 2 houses on this little block, and that's it. So we'll go turn, and we'll make a right on the next block. Check it out. This has been parked here. Old 442. Yep. I'm pleased to announce that the gas gauge in the car is working. I was concerned that it wasn't because it had stayed at the same spot, but that's what happens when you don't drive a car. It definitely went down as I drove. So now we'll loop back up this block because I don't remember where it is. It's one of these blocks. I just keep walking until I'm pretty much fucking tired out, which after a good 2 miles, that's good for me. So you can go to the next block, but yeah, this is the one, I think. You can go there and you can make a left or a right, but we'll make a left here. Check it out. An actual street with a name for the street that is different from all the rest. And there are no houses on the block at all. I just thought that was interesting. So we'll give her a little bit of onions here. See, she's misfiring. And then she came out of it and she went, but she just didn't want to go. Did not want to move. But if you drive her nice, what is this dick doing? See, I can step on her a bit. She revs right up, coming right up to speed there. She moves. There's no question about it. She definitely moves. Whoa! That was, I think 60 we hit, somewhere in there. A little quick for the side street, but you know. We're good and clear. So it runs, it drives, it stops. How does it stop? How are the brakes? Just kind of how they were. They work. They're not anything to write home about. I mean, this is GM quality. I didn't say lack of quality. I said GM quality that we're dealing with. So, you know, it's good enough. Anyway, she is running nice today, but I don't know what this misfiring shit is, and sitting at a traffic light and the thing is just stumbling and shit. something's not right. Definitely with the carbonator, and she's idling too fast as well. So maybe Julio fucked with that, but the interesting thing was, at the first part of the trip, it was not idling that fast. It had slowed down. So I don't know. Basically, I need to find somebody who does not want to tear a new asshole and pull all of the brown bills out of there and empty me out. Who knows how to work on these things and doesn't say, oh, let's put in spark plugs, let's do a carbonator, oh, you got to rebuild the transmission. What does that have to do with the engine not running right? Trust me, I've been doing this for 35 years. I don't need shit like that. I don't need shit like that. I need somebody who fucking knows what the fuck they're doing, who doesn't want to charge an arm and a leg. I want Vice Grip Garage. I want Derek. I should have gone the other way. But we'll go up and back around. I want Derek to come out here and say, yeah, it's fine. Nope. Or I want Junkyard Diggs to come out here and say, oh, very easy. You had your firing order wrong all this time. I'll be like, no, I double checked that. It's definitely right. Well, the shit I got on my cracked ass phone. No, they're excellent, and I'm sure they can figure out why the fuck it isn't running right. But you know, they take rigs that don't run and make them run. So it's a different animal. Okay, they just get it running. How well it runs, yeah, it runs enough they could drive it around the yard or whatever, but that's, you know, it doesn't go much farther than that. We don't know how well it actually does run, and the few vehicles that they end up keeping are, you know, they get back to them every now and again. You don't know what's been done in the meantime, as much as they tell you. But driving around town, like I said, she drives great. She is just moving, gliding, absolutely gliding. Alright, here we are back. Let me go and park for a minute. Should run slower than that. It was doing it before, now it's not. So that's great. Put her in park. Well, that was interesting because we went for a drive and it didn't break down. Amazing. Well, I guess they used to know how to build cars back in '67 rather than 1995. Yeah, I guess they did. A little bit. That's the thing with an old car. It can run, but not run great. This Italian's home. Let me get out of the car. You hear that siren in the background? I had that on my old Chevy, and I had a little sample of that in one of the videos I made years ago. Cool stuff from my old Chevy or something like that. I had forgotten I wanted to show you the wipers. They're new old, so they were rubber inserts that my dad had. They're a little bit longer than that, but nobody's gonna notice or say anything. And he had some, and he put them on. They don't really have to work, they just have to look like they're not falling apart, because I don't drive this thing in the rain. I mean, you can get caught in the rain, but, you know. Anyway, so the wiper issue is also solved, but that's just minor stuff. There, I think he went in. It can run, but not run great, but still run. And if it were only, you know, 50 years ago, somebody would actually know how to work on this and fix it properly. Although I'm sure there were a lot of scams that went on back then also. So, kind of a lukewarm, glad it's back, glad it runs, glad I can drive it, but something ain't right, and I'm left with an uneasy feeling. Yeah, but it's legal for another year, so we're all good with that. Just under the wire, got her done. And that's it, that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.